Do you ever feel like there's just never enough pie? Well, this peach slab pie feeds a crowd, and there'll be leftovers for breakfast. First thing you want to do is make the crust. You can do this a couple of days ahead. If you've got time, it'll sit in the fridge for at least 5 days. In this bowl, I have flour mixed with salt already. You have to use enough salt when you're making pie crust because if you just use flour, it's just gonna taste flat. Now, because I'm making a slab pie, I need to make a lot of pie crust. This is probably about double-ish a normal pie crust, so you need a big food processor, or you can do this in a bowl. Just use either 2 knives or a pastry cutter. So I'm just gonna give this a quick mix just to make sure that the salt is well integrated into the flour. And now I'm gonna add my butter. This is chilled butter cut into cubes. Have you ever looked at old cookbooks that give you recipes for pie dough and they say that you want the butter to be like cornmeal or like breadcrumbs? That's too small. We're looking for chickpea lima bean sized pieces. Okay, this is perfect. This is exactly what I'm looking for. When you're using the food processor, you have to be extra careful about not over-processing the butter at this point because it goes so quickly. And this is how you get a flaky pie crust. This is the crucial aspect of getting a flaky pie crust. As the crust bakes, the water from the butter evaporates and causes steam. And that steam pushes the dough up, and then you get a little air pocket, and that is a flake. So I'm gonna add the water slowly, a little bit at a time, because you never know how much water the flour is going to absorb. You want very cold water, you don't want to melt the butter. And then I'm gonna add the rest through the feed tube as I go. So the way you know that you've added enough water is you just take some dough and you pinch it and you see if it holds together. If it's too crumbly, you add a little more water. And now I'm just gonna press it all together with my hands. Part of the reason that I'm gonna put the dough in the fridge isn't just so that it could get cold so that I can roll it out. It also allows the moisture to distribute evenly. After an hour or so in the fridge, it'll be all nice and uniform. So here's my dough. It's gonna soften pretty quickly as you start to work it. So it's a little bit softer now, and now I can roll it out. Now here is the key to rolling out pie dough. Move it a lot. And you can just keep measuring it against your pan. Yeah, that looks good. So you just fold this. So I'm not gonna bother building this up and trying to flute it all around, because I'm gonna put a crumble topping over the whole thing. So the dough can be flush with the sides of the pan. And now I'm gonna trim, and then I'm gonna use the trimmings to patch the little naked spots there. Now I'm gonna let this firm up in the fridge for about 20 minutes. I have cut up peaches, I have some minute tapioca, or sometimes it's called instant tapioca, and sugar and some spices. And I'm just gonna let this sit for 15 or 20 minutes or so just to start the softening of the tapioca. The tapioca is what's gonna thicken all of those yummy peach juices in the pie. And in this bowl, I've got ingredients for a crumble topping. Brown sugar, I have cinnamon, I have ginger, I have some flour, and a little bit of salt, very important. And I'm gonna cut the butter in. I'm just gonna use my hands and kind of pinch it all together. Just breaking up those little brown sugar clumps. So once they're mostly broken up, you can add the butter. You want your butter cold, and then this is what it looks like when it's done. And I'm looking for pieces that are about that size. So my filling is all set. I'm just gonna grab my crust. So now you just throw it in there. I mean, we're done. We've worked hard, put it in the oven, and it's gonna be pie time. So what you wanna do is kind of mound all this fruit in the center. It's gonna cook down, and if you start it off with a pretty mound in the center, it will look better in the end. Smush this crumble right into the fruit. And now it's ready to bake. It weighs a ton. And now you just want to let this cool. Okay, finally, I can cut into this. This deep dish dessert is so perfect when you just can't decide, should I make a crumble? Should I make a pie? This one has the best of both.